Have you ever noticed that the moment you stop chasing an avoidant, they suddenly start thinking about you? At first, it might seem like nothing has changed. The messages that once came sporadically slow down even more. The calls that sometimes popped up late at night stop entirely. On the surface, it looks like they've moved on, that they don't care, and that their world no longer involves you. But deep down, something begins to shift, and it's in that quiet, in the absence you've created, that they start noticing things they never noticed before. Avoidants are complex in the way they experience love. They push people away not because they don't feel, but because closeness triggers a fear they can't always name. When you are constantly reaching out, when you are always the first to initiate contact, they feel a subtle pressure. It's not your fault, it's just the way their minds associate closeness with vulnerability. The act of chasing, even out of love, can unintentionally make them retreat further, reinforcing their protective walls. But the moment you step back, everything changes. Suddenly, your absence creates a mirror. They begin to notice the little things, the care you offered without asking, the attention you paid to details, the emotional consistency they often took for granted. It's not that they want to admit it out loud, or that they are ready to act on these feelings immediately, but internally, their mind begins to process what they've lost. In this video we will discuss the reasons why avoidants start missing you when you stop chasing them. We'll explore the internal factors and emotions they experience in your absence, and why their absence can actually become a source of strength for you. This is important to understand because many people don't realize that an avoidant missing you, or feeling your absence, is connected to their inner fears, emotional attachment, and subconscious behaviors. In this video we will discuss these reasons in detail, using simple language and real-life examples, so that you not only understand why they miss you, but also learn how to maintain your boundaries and preserve your self-worth. The first thing that avoidants feel most strongly after you stop chasing them is your emotional support and understanding. Avoidants may seem strong and independent on the outside, but inside, they experience constant emotional ups and downs. They are used to suppressing or hiding their feelings because showing emotional vulnerability feels risky to them. That's why when you were with them, your understanding, gentleness and emotional support acted as a silent anchor, the true value of which they only realize once you are gone. For example, when they became upset over something minor or suddenly went quiet, instead of reacting, you patiently gave them time. You tried to understand their state according to their mood, rather than asking, "Why are you like this?" Sometimes you just sat beside them in silence, giving them space to take a deep breath or offering a gentle smile. Sometimes you hugged them firmly when they couldn't put their feelings into words. Other times you understood the pain hidden behind their broken sentences and simply said, "I know you're not okay right now, but I am here with you." These were the small moments where you quietly helped them navigate their emotional storms. Avoidants often retreat inwardly during such moments. But when you make them feel that you are not afraid of their emotions, that you are willing to stay with them, it becomes an invaluable experience for them. They might not outwardly acknowledge your silent support at the time because their defense mechanisms keep them from getting too close, but deep down they feel comforted. Then when you stop chasing, they notice the absence of that emotional support first. They remember the moments when they couldn't control themselves, and you quietly supported them. They recall nights when they were sad, and you listened without judgment. They think of days when they were extremely frustrated, and you rekindled hope in them with just a few words. Now, when they are alone, and the same restlessness or emotional turmoil arises, they begin to break down internally. They realize that your gentleness, understanding and emotional support were actually a safe space, a place where they could gather their scattered pieces. But now, that space is empty. And for avoidants, the hardest part is that they cannot express this feeling. They cannot say that they are missing you, nor can they admit that your absence has created a void inside them. They keep themselves busy, talk to others, but deep down they know that the emotional comfort you provided is gone. Ultimately, this is the feeling that affects them the most. They cannot admit that they had come to rely on someone so much, and this very truth makes your absence feel most profound to them. Because you didn't just occupy space in their life, you turned the chaos in their heart into calm. And when you leave, that calm becomes their greatest silent need. The next thing that happens to them after you stop chasing is your absence. When you stop chasing, the emptiness is felt in a completely different way. Avoidants start noticing things they had previously ignored. The little things, small moments, all the gestures you made for them without expecting anything in return, suddenly these start standing out in their mind. For example, you always remembered what time they liked to have their coffee, or what their favorite meal was. You praised their small achievements, or patiently supported them through a bad day. These little acts of care and love now start surfacing in their memory. When you were there, they may have taken these things for granted, but after you step back, these small gestures gain a new significance. Avoidants are naturally cautious and emotionally distant. When you are always present, always reaching out, they often take that consistent presence for granted, but the moment you stop chasing and step back, they feel that absence and begin to reflect on what they are truly missing. This absence acts like a mirror. They start remembering every moment when you patiently supported them, every time you cared for their small needs, every little loving effort, like just listening during a difficult moment, or encouraging them regarding their friends or work. All of these things suddenly become very clear to them. They realize that your presence wasn't just a routine, it was an influence that brought stability and comfort into their life. Furthermore, your absence forces them to reflect on themselves. They start thinking about how much of your love, care and patience they overlooked. They begin to realize that the things they once considered ordinary were actually valuable, like the little reminders you left, your concern for their well-being, and all the small thoughtful things you did for them. This awareness stirs their emotions internally, and pushes them to confront feelings they may have been avoiding. In short, your absence creates awareness. It makes them notice all the things they had previously overlooked, the small moments, the little gestures of love, and the consistency you brought into their life. This is why when you stop chasing, avoidants feel your absence the most and start missing you. One of the most important things avoidants notice and miss is when you respect their boundaries and honor their personal space. By nature, avoidants are emotionally cautious and tend to maintain distance. They take time to let someone get close because intimacy often feels threatening to them. In such cases, when someone like you recognizes their limits and respects them, it becomes deeply significant for them. In relationships with avoidants, it's often observed that when people ignore their feelings or cross boundaries, they immediately pull back. They build walls and shut down emotionally to protect themselves. But when you respect their boundaries, whether in small moments or bigger personal matters, they feel a sense of calm inside. They remember that you never pressured them, never reacted hastily to their decisions or emotions, and always gave them space to be themselves. For example, if they want to spend a day alone, and you allow them that time without objections, it means a lot. Or if they choose not to share something personal, and you patiently create a safe environment without asking, "Why aren't you telling me?" it builds trust. They remember that you never intruded into their personal life, and this realization becomes incredibly valuable to them. Moreover, respecting boundaries also shows that you honor them as individuals and allow them the freedom to make their own decisions. Avoidants often fear that getting close to someone means losing control or feeling pressured. Your understanding and respect signal that they are safe with their identity and boundaries, and this emotional security naturally makes them value you deeply. When you stop chasing, this respect becomes even more noticeable. They suddenly start realizing how consistently you honored their limits, protected their autonomy, and never forced or pressured them. Internally, they feel broken because they recognize that such gentleness and respect are rare and precious. Outwardly, they might appear indifferent, but inside they understand that the connection they once overlooked was actually safe, trustworthy, and deeply valuable. In short, for avoidants, respect and boundary awareness is a powerful factor that leaves a lasting impression. Your consistent respect for their boundaries and your acknowledgement of their autonomy deeply affects them, and when you step back, it's this very factor that they notice first and miss the most. Now that we've explored the key factors behind why avoidants start missing you when you stop chasing them, it's important to understand how you can use this knowledge in a healthy and empowering way. Relationships with avoidants can be challenging, and it's easy to get caught up in trying to control their feelings or chase their attention, but the truth is, the power always lies within you, your actions, your choices, and your ability to maintain your self-respect. First and foremost, focus on your own growth and emotional well-being. Avoidants are not always capable of giving the consistent reassurance or validation you might seek, so it's crucial that you don't base your self-worth on their reactions. Engage in activities that bring you joy, nurture friendships that energize you, and create routines that give your life structure. By prioritizing yourself, you not only maintain your independence, but you also become less reliant on their emotional availability, which ironically increases their awareness of what they are missing. Next, set clear boundaries for yourself. Avoidants often test limits unconsciously, and maintaining your standards of respect and self-care is non-negotiable. Boundaries are not about punishment or manipulation, they are about protecting your mental and emotional space. When you define what is acceptable behavior and stick to it, you communicate to both yourself and them that you value your time, energy, and emotional investment. This clarity also helps you avoid being drawn into unhealthy cycles of chasing or overextending yourself. Another important strategy is patience. Avoidants take time to process feelings internally, and external pressure rarely accelerates this process. Allow the relationship, or your absence in it, to evolve naturally. Resist the urge to demand explanations or seek immediate validation. Often the act of stepping back quietly allows the avoidant to reflect, gain perspective, and ultimately recognize what they've overlooked, without you having to force the situation. Additionally, practice emotional detachment without becoming cold or distant. This means you remain kind, compassionate, and grounded in your interactions, but you do not let their unpredictability dictate your emotions or actions. By doing this, you maintain balance, avoid unnecessary drama, and create a sense of calm that prevents emotional exhaustion. Your measured approach demonstrates strength and self-respect, qualities that avoidants subconsciously notice and respect, even if they cannot articulate it. Finally, remember that not every avoidant will respond positively, and that's okay. The goal is not to manipulate someone into missing you, but to understand the dynamics of their attachment style so you can make informed decisions for your own emotional health. Recognizing these patterns allows you to stay grounded, avoid unnecessary heartache, and cultivate relationships that are mutually fulfilling. In conclusion, use the insights you've gained from this video to empower yourself. Prioritize self-growth, maintain your boundaries, exercise patience, and remain emotionally grounded. By doing so, you not only preserve your well-being, but you also create a presence that is valued, respected, and if it aligns with their readiness, deeply missed. The key is to focus on what you can control, your actions, your mindset, and your emotional resilience, because that is where your true strength lies.